difficult thing to wrap your head around when you first start looking into it, because you don't want to believe that it's true, that we can now measure and prove what ancient wisdom has known forever. We don't know everything, and that's okay.
Well, hello there and welcome to the About Small Business podcast. My name's Barry, I'm your host, and I'm introducing today Georgina Williams Hodgson of Nousana, Reach Further Online Digital Marketing, and REJUVENAIR to breathe cleaner. Now, that is quite an amazing mix, Georgina. Thank you so much for coming on, first of all.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I suppose since I've made a list,
yes,
if you could perhaps give me a little bit more information. First of all, just a very brief overview about Nousana.
Yeah, so thank you so much. So Nousana is a natural health and wellness business that is interested in how we can use ancient remedies, ancient knowledge and quantum physics.
I was going to say science is mentioned on there, isn't it?
It is, yes. So it's really combining those two areas of those two fields of study to try and figure out how we can use that knowledge that most of us don't have regular access to, or we don't know how to find it, to positively impact and influence our lives in the everyday.
Definitely got a few questions about that. Reach Further Online. Now, I think it's probably doing it a disservice to dismiss it as a marketing agency, because you're very specific about where you're channeling your knowledge for this, aren't you? You're very much LinkedIn based.
Absolutely, yes. So we focused on human-led content. So what we do is we go in and we interview the owner of the business and the key members of staff, so that we can figure out what it is that really makes them tick. Because I firmly believe that even in this age, I still think that people buy from people.
Absolutely.
And I think that showing the human behind the brand and why they care about that business and why they believe in that business really helps the consumer, the customer, to feel more aligned when they're making their purchase. And I think opening up is something that we find really quite difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. I think certainly with the automation reaching the stages it's reaching, AI on the horizon taking over, I personally believe that there's a massive opportunity for that really human connection, if we can actually do that, because it's questionable whether AI will be able to fully replicate it. So again, another one, I've got loads of questions. And now again, your third business, checks notes. I don't know why I needed to check those, because I think this is a great business name for what you're doing. REJUVENAIR.
Yes, thank you so much. So REJUVENAIR is a first of its kind air purification device. So the reason that it's so special is because it's a plug and play system.
Right.
So there's no overhaul of existing ventilation systems. You literally wheel it in, plug it in, and it's good to go. So inside of the system, we have a series of filters that filter out particulates. And then we have a UVC chamber at the top of the unit. So this UVC chamber, what it does is it inactivates viruses, it tears them apart, rendering them inactive so that they can't reproduce, because it's not actually effective, or it's not accurate to say that you kill viruses, because they're not alive. So you just tear them apart so that they then can't reproduce.
Sounds quite brutal.
It does, doesn't it? But this UV light that we have in our system, it's the only one that's been approved for use by the Infection Prevention Society.
Right.
So we eliminate viruses and particulates to 99.98, I think it is.
Well, there is speculation about another pandemic incoming, isn't it? So
yes.
That is going to be quite fascinating. Now, I mean, that is quite a wild mixture there. I suppose Nousana or REJUVENAIR, along with your marketing company, I can kind of understand, because the knowledge that you would inevitably develop as a business owner, you can then apply that and offer that to other people. But with Nousana and REJUVENAIR, what would be the connection?
So there's one fundamental thing that I've discovered which carries through all of my businesses, and there's that I have this insatiable desire to help people.
Right.
I want to help people. I want to use my tiny little life to help make somebody else's a little bit better. And if I can do that, I know that I'll end mine feeling proud.
What a lovely way to look at it, and that's great. I mean, I suppose for myself, I'm a performer, entertainer, and my personal mantra is I just want to make people a bit happier.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't it be a nicer planet if I suppose everyone went a bit like that? It's leave it down to us. We'll sort it out. But I suppose just while we're on REJUVENAIR, my thoughts on that are, how does it do against things like mould? Because we've got at the minute within the country massive issues with housing stock. I am a landlord. I'm aware, I know, whilst we've got people that be watching this that are currently booing at the screen, I know landlords that are popular. But mould has been, at times, the bane of my life, because I've listened on radio phone-ins, builders coming, oh, you just do this, or put trickle vents in your windows, and what a load of crap. It really is. You've got lifestyle issues, and that's just the way it is. There are lifestyle issues. Simply opening windows isn't going to fix things. And there are sort of different airflow systems. Would REJUVENAIR, would that help with that?
Absolutely, yes. So mould, dust and spores is some of the key items that we focus on removing from the air.
Yeah.
So one system effectively covers 60 square metres of space. And the way that it works is it sucks the air in through the bottom, pushes them up through these filters, and then chucks them out at the top.
Right.
But one of the reasons that it's so special, including the UVC chamber, is that inside of the system we have lots of IoT sensors.
Right.
Which are continuously monitoring and checking every 15 seconds. So they communicate that information directly to an app, which means that, for example, if you had lung cancer or asthma or COPD, you would be able to check the quality of the status of the air before you go in the building.
I think that's fascinating, because it's something that we just all take for granted, isn't it? The air that we breathe. And yet we know in London people have died from the polluted air.
Yeah.
And I mean, certainly people have very strong opinions about the ULEZ zones, the ULEZ charges, so people are doing it to spite them, but I personally view it as necessary, and I'm lucky I'm not asthmatic in any way. Not everyone is that lucky, and again, it's like relates to your health.
Yeah.
So what inspired that business?
Well, I have asthma.
Right.
And I've always had asthma. And it was during lockdown, so the beginning of lockdown.
Yeah.
And I was speaking with somebody who was a client through my digital marketing business, and he's an engineer. And through conversations, we decided to create something that was going to help people to get back into their spaces and do so in a healthy way. I think you're right. The air is something we all take for granted.
Absolutely.
And because you can't see it, there's this, I guess...
the cynicism.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah. I suppose because we've had a thing with water pollution, haven't we?
Yeah.
And it's like we kind of accept that because we can see stuff going into the water.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose we see stuff going into the air, you know, the factories and the chimneys and the crap that they put out. Yeah. But yet it does seem to just vanish.
Yeah.
But just because we can't see it, it doesn't mean it's not there anymore.
Exactly that. I always think of it like electricity. You can't see electricity, but you know it's there. Or,
absolutely.
Or Wi-Fi. You know, it's all it exists. There's no denying it exists.
Yeah.
But we can't see it in this 3D world.
No, that's true. So basically, REJUVENAIR Nousana.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. So Nousana is my baby. It's my new reason for being. Right. Because the work that I'm doing there is really helping helping people to change their lives. So
is it unfair to categorise it as life coach?
it's not quite accurate, is what I would say. So I've used the term coaching an aligned frequency. So what that means is it's basically we look at everything. So it's from the thoughts you think to the behaviours that you display to the way you interact with other people to the food you eat to the content you consume, everything. So I guess it could be kind of life, but it's all one thing anyway. And when you start diving into the science behind it, the term frequency really rings true for me, because everything, all of these small incremental changes, they all impact our frequency, which then impacts our external experience and our lives.
And what struck me about, obviously, when I was just doing a little bit of reading up on you and what you do, what struck me is perhaps what does separate you from a number of other life coaches. And I say other life coaches because I don't want anyone like shouting at me saying that they do incorporate science, but there's a big thing in your online presence that is referring to science.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I suppose, I mean, I'm aware of people dismissing life coaches. Oh, what's all this wishy-washy nonsense? You'll get that mindset. But if that is then backed up with science, then I think there's perhaps more scope for making people change their mind and combating the cynicism that we've already mentioned.
Absolutely. It becomes a lot harder to ignore when you're faced with evidence, scientific evidence, and there's so much out there to discover. I'm still learning. I'm learning every day. Yeah. And I think that that's a key part of the kind of things that I teach when I'm working with clients, is that to have that open mind and to realise that the reason that you think the way you think might not be down to you at all. You could think the way that you think because of external influences, because of past experiences, because of a cultural difference. It could be any manner of things. Yeah, absolutely. And it's really peeling that back and trying to figure out why we think the way we think, not just accepting it. Yeah. And then once we figure out why we think the way we think, we can then start to process each individual part of that structure and really take it apart, examine it, ask, does it serve me? Is it something I want to carry forward? Yeah.
If you're enjoying this content, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to let you know exactly when another podcast's going to drop.
And then we can construct our own experiences based on that. But I think the science element for me. So I'll give you a little bit of background about how Nousana started. So
before we do that, can I just ask? Because we're talking about science. Was science something that you were passionate about at school?
No, definitely not. No, I really struggled in school.
Right.
I have this thing about me where I was challenging authority, and I was very much it was a really strict school that I went to. And
it's interesting because some people tell me that, and you can kind of see it immediately. That's not the vibe I'm getting from you at all.
Thank you. That's really great. That's a lot of work that I'm doing. Yeah, and the help of a lot of natural supplements and natural health practices that I take part in.
So school wasn't a happy place for you?
Definitely not, no.
Was there any cause of that? Was it teachers? Was it just a system that didn't agree with you? Is there some, if it's not been too personal, is there some underlying condition?
I think, so primary school was great, really enjoyed it, and then secondary school was very, very heavy on the rules. And my personality just didn't accept that. And it felt quite unfair. And I remember feeling like maybe the teachers were, I don't know, even they weren't comfortable with the system because it was so strict. And it was very much, I find it really strange that we spend the first couple of years of a child's life teaching them to stand up, walk around, and how to talk. And then we spent the next 16 years telling them to sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
And that for me is really weird. And I don't think it really helps a lot of people to come into themselves, and they're trying to conform so much.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, coming from yourself as a woman. And the reason I say that is because my background, I do have a teaching background, and I do remember being told, I think at university actually, when I was on my course, that the system is predominantly designed for women because of those reasons that you've just mentioned, like sort of when you're a young lad, you've got all this sort of muscle that you want to get up and be running around, and implying that sort of women didn't want to do that, which I suppose on reflection is, I mean, I'm going back a few years, probably about 20 years, so we could perhaps say that's maybe sort of at best misguided, possibly at worst a little bit sexist.
Yeah.
But just interesting that is, I suppose, something that affected you.
It definitely affected me, yeah. And I think that it impacted my willingness to want to learn.
Right.
Because I just saw it as it was a place that I had to go.
Yes.
I needed to go, so I had no choice, and I needed to be sitting there and focused on this thing, and I just couldn't do it, and I didn't. The environment wasn't helping me to learn at all. But it was a really good school, and I actually did come out with pretty decent grades.
Right.
But the experience of it was not pleasant.
So from school then, did you then go on to do A-levels, or were you straight into...
Yeah, so I went to college. I did some AS levels while I was figuring out what I wanted to do. So I did fine art and psychology.
Right.
That was interesting. Then I did some business admin stuff. And then after that, I went to Durham College and I did a BTEC in art and design.
Right.
From there, I went to Northumbria Uni and I did a degree in interior design.
Right.
And then after that, I got a job in marketing.
Right. Okay. So you're working in marketing. Were you there for any period of time before deciding to start up on your own, or?
Yes. So I was working for a really major company in the Northeast. And it was a fantastic place to work. I made some really good friends there. Incredible experiences, but I was thrown in at the deep end, so I didn't really have any experience of marketing apart from what I had learned at uni. It's just on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And being at that job, I mean, it was phenomenal. So I was thrown into looking after, being responsible for like 6-figure budgets and
wow,
like industry launches, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing, so I just had to learn really fast.
Yeah. I suppose that's when you often do learn the best, isn't it? When you sort of have to.
It is, yeah. So I learned really quickly. I did that job for a couple of years, and then after that there was a point where I had a really nice place to live. I had a brand new car, a great job. I was going out every weekend. I was buying new clothes every week. And then there was this point in my life where I just kind of looked around and I felt like I'd ticked off all of the boxes that you know socially expected. Yeah. And I felt empty. Which I think is the more I'm growing older and having different conversations, I think that's a very common feeling that people have.
Absolutely.
Unfulfilled. And I couldn't understand it because I'd done everything I was supposed to do. So that was when my love of journaling first began, even though I didn't understand it at the time. So I took out a pen and paper and I just started writing things down. And what came out of that was that I had 3 goals. I wanted to travel, I wanted to move down south, and I wanted to set up a business.
Okay.
And that night I booked the flight, and then the next day I went and handed my notice in, got rid of the flat, got rid of the car, And then I went to Singapore, Australia, Thailand, back to Australia for a bit. And then I moved down south.
Wow.
And then I set up the business.
That's quite fascinating, actually, because there's a remarkable similarity to my own story.
Yeah.
I was working, I loved the people I worked with, hated the job, working in IT recruitment, and just came on one day and said to my wife, I can't carry this on. And for me, I think looking back, what you're describing is, I think it's sort of a lack of purpose.
Yes.
I don't know how deeply that affected you. I think for me, that lack of purpose, because I'm quite creative, quite musical, and that I wasn't getting any time to spend on that. And it's like, the money, we'd got a house, we'd got a car. I did have options of company, but I was never motivated by cars, so that didn't really figure into it. But I think looking back, I probably was sort of quite, at least bordering on depression about that emptiness. And I just said to myself, I need to do something. Do you want to go around the world? And we did exactly the same thing. Sold the house, sold the car, packed our bags, and just went away for a year.
Amazing. And, where did you go?
We started off in Thailand, then went to Australia, lived in Melbourne for a while, because I ended up getting a job in IT recruitment in Melbourne. Absolutely phenomenal opportunity, and like I say, it was well paid as well.
Yeah. And
then we went to New Zealand, Fiji, America, and Canada. We popped into Mexico for the day.
Wow.
Little day trip to Mexico, so that fits in there. So America, Canada, and Mexico, and then came back, and then that's when I retrained as a teacher. But I did know I wanted to work for myself at some point. I just couldn't work out what to do.
Yeah, what an experience.
So yeah, what year were you travelling then?
2016.
2016. Now, right? Yeah, we were before that. 16 years before that. So. But yeah, it's I think that's one thing. I've never met anyone that's regretted travelling. They might have decided it wasn't for them, but they've never regretted it. It's just a story you get from doing that you can take with you.
It is. It's filling your life with experiences, not things.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You just don't regret travel.
Yeah.
So you got that, and then you went down south.
I did.
And then something presumably lured you back to the north.
It did, yeah. So I moved around. When I first went down south, I was in Essex. I was staying with my uncle and auntie.
Right.
And I had a couple of different jobs there, actually. And then the business came along later. So I was working for a company in North London, and I moved to Apsley, so Apsley Lock, which is just north of London.
Yeah.
I was there for a couple of years, and then I moved to Henley, and I really made a second home there.
Yeah.
And I miss it.
Not cheap places to live, mind, are they?
No, but amazing.
Yeah.
Really amazing places. Yeah, I was very, very lucky to do so, and that's where Reach was set up.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So the marketing, that was your first business.
It was, yes.
Obviously, doing what you knew. Did in terms of, because you mentioned your A levels, psychology, fine art, did they impact into like that career choice?
I did, yes. So I think the more I learned, the more I understand me and why I'm doing the things I'm doing. So I did AS psychology as well. So I think that all of those different elements, if you look at me objectively instead of from my own perspective, you can kind of understand how the journey got to this point.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense that there's some keystones were put in place when I didn't even know that that's what they were going to lead to. But there's that age-old saying, isn't there? I think it was Rumi said, when you start to walk on the way appears.
Yes.
So if you don't know where you're going to go, you just know that it feels right.
Yeah. It's I can't remember who it was, but someone else like put it, sort of jump on the safety net will appear.
Yeah.
Never worked out if that was fully true, but arguably a slightly more dangerous one. But yeah, I think you do have to just take that leap of faith, though. Sometimes, don't you?
You do. It's like I listened to a book the other day that said it's like when you're driving at night and you can only see 2 meters in front of you with the headlights, but you just keep going anyway, trusting that the road is going to be there, and trusting that even if there's something jumps out, you're going to be able to respond, and it's trusting yourself.
Yes,
I think, and that again feeds into the work I'm doing, which is
I'm just backing yourself, I suppose, isn't it? Having that self-belief.
Yeah. And when you look back on everything that you've been through, you've got loads of evidence that you are to be trusted.
Yes.
We just tend to forget that and focus on, or what we can do is focus on the things that we didn't do right or the things that went wrong.
They seem to have a bigger impact on our memory, don't they? Those sort of negative, those negative experiences. I suppose in some ways because they're often the best teachers. So if you can kind of spin it like that, I suppose, and that's sort of relevant. But yeah. So in terms of your marketing company, you've set up. How did you start? Was it just a case of like you picked up a few clients, or were you literally like sort of sat with a phone and a notepad? I was going to say Yellow Pages, which is my advertising and sales days. I'd sit with the Yellow Pages and like sort of go through that. But I suppose you've got the internet by that time, haven't you? So
yeah, there was no Yellow Pages. But so the business just kind of, it naturally came about.
Yeah.
It was less that I had decided to do it, and it was more that people who I'd worked with in the past who then decided to set up their own thing, or different. A lot of it was people who I'd worked for in the past. So people who I'd been employed with, and they didn't have the need for a full-time marketing capacity, but they still needed something.
Yeah.
And I was then able to fill that need. So I picked up a few clients in the south, and it just kind of, it grew from there organically. Wow.
So you've got your marketing company, and how long then before you moved back up north?
It's probably about 6 years.
Right, okay.
7 years. So Reach Further Online has been running for nearly 6 years now.
Right, and obviously it's online, so didn't really make a difference where you're operating from. So which I suppose makes things a lot easier. So and so what was it that drew you back up?
Family.
Right.
Yes, it was the right time to be close to my family.
Yeah.
Even though we were on the same piece of land, I would call it, if something were to happen, it was going to take me 5 hours to get home.
Yeah.
And that's a long journey. If you need to be there now, it was too much. So
I've travelled down to London, and it's, you're talking 5 hours at best, really, aren't you?
That's it, yeah.
But so you want to be back up here. You've got your online business, which is carrying on because it doesn't matter where you need to be.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of your focus, were you sort of still serving the same clients? So did you then look to expand your client base in the north? Or?
I didn't actively, but it has expanded.
Again, organically.
Yeah, organically.
So this is interesting then for a marketing company. You've got lots happening organically. And the nature of your business, we've already mentioned it's through LinkedIn, and you've talked again about like sort of that very much, I suppose, personal branding. Is that fair?
Yeah.
And making those genuine connections.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's that expertise is coming from what you've actually experienced. Then.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think I've always enjoyed talking to people.
Yeah.
And the more I learn about why we are the way we are, the more, I guess, prevalent it becomes that we all seem to have similar traits. And we play down our achievements. We don't think that what we do is special, but we think what everybody else does is special.
Yes.
And I get such a kick out of speaking to somebody and talking to them about their everyday, their mundane everyday, and me coming at it from a completely external point of view, and being able to draw out of them what it is that they do, and then show them how special that is, and you can see it in them, and it's magic.
And this sounds like it's leading naturally into talking about Nousana.
It is, yeah. So Nousana is, I think I said it's my reason for being.
Yeah. How did that happen then? Because I'm assuming that came into being when you moved back to the northeast.
No, so the idea first
Right.
sparked when I was in the south. So it was lockdown 1. So I was living really far away from home, like 300 miles or something away from home. I had no real close friends or family or anything around me. I was working for myself and living by myself. And I was going through a bit of a messy breakup at the time as
Right.
well. And then all of a sudden, the world shut down. So I was finding myself really struggling to get through my days. Like, it was an achievement if I'd got out of bed.
It's tough at the best of times, wasn't it, in lockdown?
It was brutal, yeah.
But particularly for people on their own.
Yeah, it was just bizarre, really strange. And I started to think I was losing my mind at one point, as I'm sure lots of people did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, it was whole weeks would go by where I didn't see another human face in real life. You know, I would have conversations with somebody on a screen. I would get my food delivered to the house. There was no interaction with humans at all. It was complete isolation.
No, I mean, I hear I've since obviously spoken to people that were in that situation, and we were really lucky. Obviously, I'm living here with my wife, my 2 daughters, and the quality time that we're able to have together. There's lots going on sort of around the community to support each other. Lots going in, like. I play in a band, and we were playing, like, we'd got a regular Friday night gig going on. I'd go online for about an hour, sing some songs. There was another local artist that'd got do the hour before me. The lad that I play in a band with, he'd do the hour after me, and then we'd got all this like virtual pub going on. Everyone would get the cans and beers and things like that. But what probably one of the nicest things someone said to me was someone that was in a situation like yourself had said that had actually kept her going, because she'd always got something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And that really was lovely. And again, the little things, because for me, it was just, what can we do? I mean, my stress from lockdown came from the fact that obviously I couldn't travel anywhere. So I basically, through lockdown, became a kept man. And again, for someone of my age, that's quite hard from a pride perspective. But, I kept going doing other things, and it's, comparatively lucky, really. And like, so when you hear stories about people like yourself, and that's, that was tough.
It was, but I mean, by no means I don't think I had it the worst. There was so many people had it much worse than I did. I was lucky, I had a roof over my head and water in the tap and food in the cupboard. As far as things go, I was really lucky.
Yeah.
But it still was tough. And I'd heard that depression was a chemical imbalance, as I'm sure many people have heard that. So I started to look into that a bit more. And I wanted to find out what was going on with the food I was eating, with the different kinds of chemical changes that was creating in my body, and how that might be affecting my mind.
It's actually terrifying, isn't it, when you start to look at what's in food.
Yeah. We'll be here all day. You'll have to shut me up. It's really mind blowing.
Yeah.
When you start looking into it, and not in a good way.
No, not at all. I remember basically, when as a man you get that sort of call at 40 to go for these checks and things like that, and type 2 diabetes runs quite high in my dad's side of the family. As was expected, it's like your blood sugars are actually quite high, your cholesterol's quite high as well. We can put you on some sort of tablets or whatever, or you can get your backside down the gym and look at your diet. And I've always gone to the gym as an adult in some form or another. Like, so I've never been like sort of bodybuilder or anything like that. But I'm not big into sport. But this was the first time I'd looked at nutrition, and going around the shops and looking at tins. It's like, I've got a degree in English. I couldn't understand half of it.
Yeah.
All these words begin with E.
Yeah.
And they've got letters and numbers in them. What's going on? It's like, what on earth
Yeah.
So assuming you were doing something broadly similar, then were you?
Yes, that's exactly it. And the ingredients that I started looking into and the different health complications that are linked to certain ingredients, you do end up finding yourself now walking around the shop and picking stuff. You just put everything down. You just read the label, put everything. It all feels like poison now.
It's scary. I mean, I hear people say, "Oh, well, you can, fruit and veg is there. It's one of the cheapest things you can get." But it's not that simple, is it? For doing a weekly shop, I mean, even on your own.
But even the fruit and veg is contaminated.
Yeah,
it's it's a really difficult thing to wrap your head around when you first start looking into it, because you don't want to believe that it's true.
It's a bit of a rabbit hole in a way, isn't it? Because so you just get in there and there's so much going on.
Yeah. It is. And then I think that feeds in nicely to the work that we do through Nousana, where we help people to understand what's actually going on, but also to navigate it, because it can be quite a lonely and frightening experience when you start to peel back layers and look at what's going on underneath. It was certainly lonely for me, and I don't want anybody else to have to feel that way.
So I suppose your marketing business is fairly easy to see.
Yes.
How that started and why that started.
Yeah.
For Nousana, it sounds like that's been inspired about your own personal journey.
Yeah.
So for Nousana specific, I mean, obviously you've got your marketing expertise. Any business you do, you've got that expertise. You know how to kind of get out there. You know how to network. You know how to sort of create an online presence. Who's your for Nousana? What's the ideal customer? What do they look like?
Ideally, people who've already started to question things. People who, because we are all born into this system where we're unaware that it's a system, because we're just told this is the way things are, and we accept it. And I'm really looking to help people who've started to question that narrative. Because there is so much ancient knowledge that's been lost to us, that's just there and ready and waiting for us to discover it, in terms of natural health, natural remedies, and the way that we consume food, the way that we consume media, like I was saying.
I'm coming back to this again, but you're talking about science, and you're then talking about ancient remedies. Now, you kind of squashing together two things that I think to an ignorant mind, and by ignorant I mean someone that doesn't know as opposed to someone that's stupid, just to clarify my definitions, you've got two things there that would appear on paper to be quite diametrically opposed.
Yes.
And I can understand you getting involved in one, but to go down the science route, I wouldn't normally expect that same person to then take an interest in the more, can I say, spiritual approach?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that it's unique. It's unique, and I'm fascinated as to sort of why you've decided to look at both.
So I think for me, I had a set of beliefs in my mind before I started learning all of this. I think, like a lot of people do, that if it doesn't have evidence, then it's not real. And I would just push something into the woo-woo bucket and move on with my life.
Polite term, I like that.
Yeah, it was irrelevant, I didn't need to think about it. But because I started looking at things from an evidence point of view, and that was kind of my crack in the door, if you will, that's what convinced me to then start looking into the spiritual side. And it was like one became the other one. So to me now, I don't see them as two separate things. I think that science is catching up to ancient wisdom, and it's fascinating and amazing time to be alive, to be witnessing all of these amazing studies and just demonstrable evidence that's there, that we can now measure and prove what ancient wisdom has known forever. Yeah. And we're only just catching up, I think, in the Western world.
So you basically argue there's a symbiosis between the two.
I do.
And well, to a degree, you can't have one without the other because they're intrinsically linked like that.
Yes.
That is interesting, but I suppose yeah, making me questioning my own thought process on that actually, which is quite fascinating, because I suppose with your ancient wisdoms and things like that, people found that they are by their nature conclusions, aren't they? People came to conclusions and then passed that wisdom on.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part of the work that I do, is that I don't really, because I believe that we're always learning, and I think one of the most important things is to have an open mind. You'll very rarely hear me draw a conclusion, because I'm more about that we don't know everything, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it's all right to hold your hands up and say, I'm not sure. I don't know. Science hasn't reached there yet.
Yeah.
But drawing the conclusion and being like a definitive, this is how it is, I think that is quite damaging, because it closes you off to so many other possibilities.
I suppose by its nature, science is always evolving, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the conclusion, until, as long as you remain open-minded, that can be challenged.
Yeah.
I think the big problem that we've got though in society at the minute is people making challenges to science without any kind of foundation other than what they want to believe.
That's it.
And which is interesting. So I mean, in terms of, you've clearly got a spiritual side of things. Are you quite religious, or have you become quite religious as a result of what you've been doing, you've been exploring, or?
I have, and that has been a massive journey on its own. So the school that I was talking about, that was really heavily Christian.
Right.
So we would have every single day, there would be assemblies, there would be Bible readings, that kind of thing. And I think because it was kind of forced upon me, I had unknowingly made a link in my brain between spiritual equals discomfort or displeasure, or so I just kind of put it in that bucket in my brain and didn't investigate it any further. Whereas when Nousana started to come around, and I was all of a sudden reading facts that were challenging everything that I thought I knew about the world, it became like an internal battle where I was desperately trying to cling on to the world that I thought I knew.
Right.
At the same time, whilst being presented with evidence that I couldn't deny. And that internal struggle went on for quite some time. So yeah, now I absolutely believe there is a God or a source or the universe. People call it different things. I believe it's the same thing with a different word attached.
Yeah. So when we say religious, would you? Is it probably slightly more accurate to say you're more aware of your spiritual side of things, or would you subscribe to a definitive Catholicism, Church of England?
No. Because, I mean, all religion's man-made.
Yeah.
And I believe in what I've experienced and what I've found. So factually, so I have, through meditation and through different practices that I've taken part in, I've experienced things that I can't explain. And as a result of that, my view on spiritualism is completely different to where it was before.
Yeah.
Completely different. But I think that it's all too easy for people to want to put other people into categories and into boxes so that they can try and make sense of where to place them. But into how I would describe my...
That's interesting coming from a marketer.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I suppose in many ways, and again, you might shatter my sort of thought process on this, but as a marketer, you kind of are putting people into boxes. You're looking at data, you're looking at, like your perfect customer, how old they are, what they look like, and it really, certainly in a lot of the courses I've been doing recently, it's about that definition, getting these categories, I suppose.
Yeah.
But that's, and again, I mean, having met you that really doesn't seem anything like what you're about.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's human nature to...
I'm trying to be really careful about what I say here, because I don't want it to seem like I'm insulting either your marketing business or Nousana.
That's all right.
I'm just fascinated now, because you clearly have, but how you sort of make these two work
Yeah.
together.
So I think it's human nature to want to oversimplify everything and for our brains to make sense of it. I mean, when we first meet somebody, we don't even know that our subconsciouses are trying to place that person where we think they belong, in accordance with our RA, so our reticular activating system, so the filter in the brain that processes the world. We are trying to decide where that person then fits within that hierarchy that we have in our subconscious. But while that is useful to do in marketing, it's a lot less productive to use that in Nousana, because the way that Nousana works is we really focus on the qualities of the individual and understanding that even if, like we were talking about before, even if two people have very similar experiences, they can be very different people.
Absolutely.
And it's really focusing on and understanding why that is the case. So we might want to put them into boxes and put them into nice little categories, but the reality is that human beings are really complicated. And we all behave in different ways to sometimes we even expect ourselves to. So I think it's going back to that open mind.
So how at what stage did REJUVENAIR enter the fray in terms of your business?
So REJUVENAIR was it came about during lockdown. So like I say, it was a client that I had through Reach Further Online, and they came to me and we were having conversations about what we could possibly do.
So there's a lot going on in lockdown. You can see how you spent your time.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. But learning information and challenging my existing thought patterns, that was what saved me. That was what got me through. Because I now know that every single time I learned something new, I was getting a smash of dopamine, and that became addictive. So I mean, I got to a point where I was learning all day, every day, all night, every night, just desperately trying to cram more information in. And yeah, I mean, as part of that, REJUVENAIR was I guess brought around during that time. I was learning about particle sizes. I was learning about what we breathe in and how different particle sizes could get embedded in the lungs. I was a vapor at the time.
Right.
Which I'm no longer a vapor, because some of the things that I learned were just, I mean, it was enough to put anybody off.
So I have to ask this because this is kind of relevant to me as well. You've got 3 businesses going on there. How do you prioritise? Do you think that there's any issue with running 3 businesses in terms of your focus and the commitment you're able to offer?
Yes, that's a good question. Thank you for asking. It is not without its challenges.
I say that because I'm in the same position.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's I think that we can often do what we think we're capable of doing, and we decide what that is. So, and I do think that you can do anything, but you can't do everything.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm still learning and coming to terms with.
I was just about to
myself.
say, I know you're right, but I don't like that.
I know. That's a lot of the stuff that I do. I learn stuff all the time, and I think I don't like it, but it's true.
It's true, yeah, it is.
Yeah. And I mean, REJUVENAIR has, so we were awarded an Innovate UK Smart Grant. So we used that money to develop the test system, and that has been running in a couple of different sites. But that business has it's currently in a state of transition, we'll say, where we're deciding what the future of it will look like. Reach Further Online is fantastic. It's such a little light in my life. It brings me so much pleasure, like I was saying, to sit with somebody and really draw out what makes them them. And that one, it doesn't take up a lot of my time, but it does take up a significant portion of it and a significant portion of brain space. I do also have some help in that business, so that's good. And Nousana is definitely where most of my focus goes these days.
I was going to say, it's sounding, in fairness for you, like the three are quite intertwined.
Yeah.
And I suppose developing alongside yourself as a person, as someone who's clearly very interested and committed to that self-development. Was that fair?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think in many ways, I had a couple of finishing questions I was going to ask you, sort of in terms of where you saw yourself going and sort of where your achievements are. But I think you've kind of summed all that up in your little statement. So I think I'm just going to wish you all the best. I could literally be talking to you for hours on end. It's been a fascinating conversation. Georgina, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Cheers.
much.